Hello, thank you for joining us in a new live, a series of talks with the Rav Lightman. Hello, Rav Lightman. Hello, Nitza Mazuz. So recently we've been talking about health. We were trying to understand how we can be healthier in mind and heart. And the Rav Lightman has been opening up for us new angles that help us to see deeper into this matter from talk to talk and to develop into this new life, a healthy life. So Rav Lightman, in our last talk, we began to open up this matter of the power of thought. You talked about it a lot in our previous talks here on health. And in our meeting here in the workshops, I remind you, Nitsa and I are representing a group of 10 people, just regular people like me, like you, who have all kinds of symptoms and aches and pains from their pressures in life. And the common denominator is that everybody wants to make a change. Everybody here wants to be healthier on all kinds of levels in life. And so we're coming together here to learn from the Rav Lightman. And in the last meeting, we opened it up with the matter of the power of thought. And you said that our desires and thoughts are a system that when it gets out of balance, then people experience all kinds of symptoms. And you said that the highest system is the system of our thoughts. And if we organize this system correctly, it will project on all the other levels, all the other systems, and then we'll feel health, overall health. So our last meeting ended with the beginning of a discussion about a good eye, an evil eye, and so on. And we know that in this all matter of health and illness, many times people feel that they got some illness because somebody else gave them an evil eye, because we were fighting, there was a conflict, they thought bad things about me, suddenly some illness came along or life became bad. So we began to talk about this matter, and I raised a question that I'd like to begin the discussion with in order to clarify things. You're saying that we're all interconnected and we project thoughts on each other. Not just me, but researchers say this. Right, but we see also, without researchers, we see it black and white, that we're all connected in our thoughts and desires and ambitions. So I'm asking, can we reach the insight that all the unpleasant things in my life result from other people projecting them on me? That everybody goes around giving an evil eye to the other. That's called the evil eye, that each one thinks negatively on the other subconsciously without even meaning to. We have to understand that an evil eye is when I don't think good things about you. It's our default state. It's where I don't think for the sake of others. I don't think good for others, because good thoughts about others. Because if I'm in the same system with others and I depend on what they project onto me, then I need to first of all think about them in a good way. By that I'll influence them so that the good that I influence to them will return to me a number of times more than it will return to me a few times as much. So if I think good things about a number of people, then I'll receive 1,000 times more back. This is what needs to happen in the closed system. And we see today that this is how we are, whether we want to or not. This is actually our human system today. So the evil eye is not that I look at you in such a way where I intentionally want to harm you, or to, God forbid, cause you bad things. No, but because we are in this integral system and the mutual connection that is very deep, and everything you can point at, it's like we're tied together with 1,000 chains in dependency that there is no other like it. So every attitude that I have, subconsciously or consciously, that is bad towards other, is already called the evil eye or bad influence on the system. Now, I need to see, does it really happen this way or not? And if we check scientifically my approach towards life, I see that it is this way, because despite me being in this strong interconnection, dependency with others that I cannot cut away from, even though I'm connected to them naturally. And it's now being revealed recently between us in our world. I'm also naturally, to begin with, personally and individualistically in life, I only want good for myself. So I am in a kind of duality here, a kind of distortion, a kind of conflict between the truth that I'm connected to others. That's A. And B, that I don't take into consideration that I'm connected to everyone and I'm nourished by this general system. I treat it as if I'm only dependent on myself. My perception is wrong towards the world I'm in. And if I don't understand this, I continue with this widening crisis and go deeper and deeper in it. And this point is the central point. It's called the point of crisis. It's the crisis in thought and perception. It's a crisis in my approach to life and my attitude. And here I need to take myself by the hands and think, if I'm, whether I want to or not, part of this integral system where I am dependent on everyone and everyone is dependent on me, and I don't relate to them correctly, how can I change my attitude? There's no choice. I can't change the system. Even if I wanted to separate myself from everyone and go and live in some lone island or forest, I can't. Then I would live a life of sorrow. What will I have? I need to think about everything. I'll need to take care of all of my needs. How will I satisfy all my needs? I have to be within society, and if I'm within society, the thoughts, the desires, even without physical touch, contact, everything influences me. And I need to serve them, and they need to serve me. Otherwise, how? Where will I get food from, and clothing, and everything I need? Just normal human life. So then I depend on all of society. Today we see it in all of humanity. Look at what you're wearing. There's nothing on you that does not depend on all the people in the world. In all the places, people made efforts to dress you and to feed you and so on. This is the way the world is built. It turns out this way. From when you look at the world, you see that it's this way. And I need to wish everyone good because I depend on them. And what do? I just want to make a gain for myself. This is the most important point. This is actually the point of the crisis. How is it possible that I want to, I don't care, or I even want to harm the people that I am nourished by, that I depend on, that are the source of my life. And here, therefore, we reach a state where we need to change the attitude of man, of a person to humanity, and not just humanity, to nature. Look what I'm doing to nature. I'm ruining, destroying the ecology completely. Look at what I'm doing. Why? Because I don't feel that I'm nourished by it, that I am with it completely inside this system. I'm together with nature. It is round, it's general, it includes me within it, and I relate to it in such a way that I take a part of it for myself. I don't care about the rest, and then I find out that what I took came back to me as troubles, tenfold as much as I got. So now we're coming to the diagnosis of the illness. What is the reason for your back pains also? It is the attitude that is not integral and not general to the entire world. Because we're living in a round world, and therefore I need to accept it in such a way. I need to feel that it's so, that it's mine, that it's inside me. Like a mother that feels her baby is part of me. It came out of the mother. She feels that it's even more important than her herself. This is how I need to feel the world. That my life is not mine. It depends on them 100%. And here, there's a problem. If I don't relate to them in such a way, it's called that I give them the evil eye, not the good eye. This is called the evil eye. Now, the problem then is, how do you change one's approach to the environment? The environment is the entire world, everything there out there. By that, our good future, that's what our good future depends on. And then we won't kill each other and nature, and we'll balance our lives together, and we'll take only what we need from each other, and won't make overuse of natural resources, etc., etc. So you were saying that we need to treat the world in such a way, and whenever you talk about the relations between a person and the world, I don't know why I get all these pictures from my childhood where I have this internal comparison to a model where I was born and where I grew up. Maybe because it wasn't a city, it was in the country. And so I can think about the entire village, the entire town where I was living. And then I can think about the interaction in this little environment I was living in for 20 years. And from there I can see if I understand what you're saying or not. So say now, these questions came up in me, and I want to ask. I want to tell you about two incidences that happened that I remember. One of them is a neighbor that lived 4 houses from me, who has a private business. And I remember we'd always say that this guy is making a ton of money. However, you'll never see him buying something that will show how much money he has. He'll always will take something, like say buy an average car. He can buy a Mercedes, but he'll only buy a Mazda. Why? Because he's afraid of the evil eye. Now, 4 more houses from him, there was another man who I had no contact with. And I remember when I was a kid, he was maybe 60 years old or so. And at some point, he had some brain incident, and half of his body became shut down. And then he lived his life this way, but just half of him. And what would people say? That he got the evil eye. So now I want to understand that this isn't magic and wizards and snakes and whatever. You're telling me this is the way it is. That if all the people, you're saying, if all the people in the town, let's say 1,000 people live there, everyone should have gotten up in the morning with one thought, that we want all these 1,000 people to feel good. That means that they wish good to like a mother to the child. This is called the good eye. This is the ideal state, which probably is not what happened. And then that man is afraid to buy something so that nobody will think he has something, and then maybe some lightning will come and kill him because of the power of thoughts. And that guy was truly, he got hit. Is it really like that, or are these just fantasies? The fact that our thoughts is the highest part of the system, that's clear. But the part that a person gets what he needs to get from this level of thoughts is also clear. It's one system. And today we begin to measure the power of the influence of thoughts psychologically in all kinds of levels. We see that. We do that. But that's not the problem. The problem is That of course, in our good relations and approach, we cause a good internal and external state that is balanced. I don't understand. I don't understand the problem here. That you're saying that specifically somebody got hit because of bad thoughts. I can't say that because there are all kinds of factors here that I can't take into consideration. But all in all, if we all treat each other in this good way, everyone will have a good life and feel good. The approach to life you'll feel immediately. The mood you'll feel immediately. The state of health, you can ask the doctors, they'll tell you themselves that this will influence you for the better. So what do you want? You yourself are saying that it's this way. There's nothing supernatural here. You're asking me as if I deal with some hidden forces in nature. It's not hidden, it's here between us. In this mutual influence we have on each other. So there is no other problem in the world except for explaining to people what their good life depends on, and this good approach and attitude between everyone. But you're illustrating a picture as if we're all living in some war, in the state of war. Of course. Right, because we're in an interconnected system, whether I want to or not. I'm sending these missiles on you each and every moment. What? Either flowers or missiles. But I'm sending it for sure. So what do we do? Oh, so that's what I'm saying. First of all, we explain to everyone that we are sending something to each other all the time. So let's say I feel these missiles from my neighbor from below, and I'm also sending missiles onto him nonstop. So what do we do? Start sending him flowers. What do you mean? But he's a bastard. So this is specifically why you should. Why not? Why should? What do you mean? Why not? But he harms me. He makes my life bitter. Try to break him with love. You've already seen that you can't do it by returning him bad thoughts, and this is against nature. Nature is built in such a way that against the force of evil, you have the force of good, which balance, and then they balance each other. This one receives, and this one gives, and afterwards that one gives, and that one receives. But if I'm on a battlefield and everybody's shooting at me, I want to find something to protect me. You want to cut yourself off, and that's against nature, and this will not happen. The connection will be even greater. Your nervous system will become even more sensitive, and it will seem to you that he'll become even more sophisticated in the way he harms you. It won't help because we're evolving, and you'll feel even worse in this way. You'll reach a state in which you'll kill him. No, you need to go in the opposite direction. Does he go to the synagogue? No. Where can you meet? God forbid, just not to meet him. If I see him in the elevator, I get a bad day. Why? I had such days in which if I fought with someone, I remember, and I fought with someone. I remember we went to the same synagogue in the holidays, and he purchased my Aliyah la Torah. No, he was not righteous. I remember it was a great lesson for me. I couldn't overcome it. I was constantly with him in such conflicts, It wasn't real conflicts, but it was just tensions. And when he did that, it was such a great lesson for me. It was maybe 40 years ago. I remember it till today. It influenced me very, very strongly. I want to ask for a moment. And suddenly, you understand, I was invited to go up to the Torah, and they said that he bought it. He purchased it for me. It was something supernatural. Well, how would you feel? Me? I went and gave this neighbor a present. And the bastard, no missile is influencing me. Not a good missile, not a bad missile. He has a different system. He's just a bad man, I changed apartments. I thought I'll have a nice, peaceful life after my last neighbor. Or, or maybe I have some problem with neighbors because I used to live in the country. I'm not used to having neighbors above me and below me. I- Come to my room where I live, you'll hear. Above me, there's a gym. So all the time I hear boom, boom over my head. I feel like the missiles are falling above me. So what? He feels him inside his backaches. He's sitting in his. So I'm asking if he projects this negativity on me. It's not negative. He doesn't think about it. He's not doing it on purpose. I understand. He's just a bad man. No, he's not bad. He doesn't. He's not even doing it intentionally. He doesn't feel that he's doing it. He's not doing it intentionally. You feel it. That you feel bad about it, but he doesn't feel it. So what are you going to do? You need to change your approach. Let's say it was your kid, your beloved child that is doing something good, building something for himself. Let's say a motorcycle. And he's making such a noise, but you like it when he does it. It develops him. It's better for him than if he'd go somewhere and do something else. So he occupies himself with building this motorcycle. It's okay for you that he makes this noise because he's at home and he's making noise. Very good. I see on you that you understand this example. So then it all depends on your approach. It's not that it really disturbs your hearing. It's your attitude. It's the fact that the stranger is creating this noise that bothers you. It depends on your attitude towards him. Is he a stranger to you or not? Well, we'll need a whole another workshop just for this guy now. It's above me. What I couldn't understand is what influences his backaches? His neighbor's thoughts about him or the fact that he's thinking bad thoughts about his neighbor? It's Oren's thoughts about his neighbor for sure that are causing his backaches. Of course, this neighbor doesn't have any thoughts at all. He doesn't have anything. It's all inside of Oren. So then it's Oren's responsibility to make this change. Of course, whenever we think the world influences badly, it's because we are the ones who think that the world treats us this way. So suddenly the responsibility is back in my hands. Right, we get 1,000 times more than we influence the system. Whatever I influence the environment with, the system, it returns to me 1,000 times more. So I'm the only one who can give me the good eye? Of course, only you. Nobody else can give it to you. How can I create this good eye to myself? This is the power of thought. Yes? So how? At least you need to be chafetz chesed, he who wishes mercy. Chafetz chesed, it's when you look at everyone in such a way where it's impossible that they all have bad intentions. This is what I should tell myself, Warren is asking. Yes, I'm telling you, what is this quality of chafetz chesed, of one who wishes mercy, is when I don't attribute anything negative to anyone else. And I don't want anything bad from anyone. And if they want something from me, I'm able to always help them. And then it turns out that I always have this good, comfortable attitude from everyone and to everyone, and they all feel me as if I'm not there. I don't take up space. Except for when I can be next to them and help. And I disappear in such a way, and I'm like air. This is called chafetz chesed, one who wishes for mercy. Somehow. So these qualities that you just illustrated, I need to try and attain them? Yeah, let's say the entire world is chafetz chesed, and then you feel that there's no one in the world. There's nobody there. These people, you don't see them. It's as if there's a ton of space, because none of them is such a person that has uh, demands, with such desires, with their arms like this. No, each one is as if he's not even there. It doesn't disturb the system. It doesn't have demands. It's as if you've neutralized their thoughts and desires on me. Yeah, he neutralizes himself. This is chafetz chesed. This is what you want your neighbor to be like. Try to be that way. You'll feel that it comes back to you many times as much from the entire world. Again, we're now talking about the method for the masses. So the first stage is the stage where we can neutralize our thoughts towards others. And the second phase, it's not connection yet. I just neutralize them. I live in the world as if there's nothing around me. I don't demand anything from anyone, and I don't relate to them at all. I don't relate to them. If they want me, then yes. If not, then no. Everything according to their desire for me. If they want something, please. But I myself do not come and try to influence them, and don't try to bestow to them, and don't try to integrate myself with them forcefully. I make myself as airy as possible. But before, you described that the system is tied together and I'm part of it. But in the system of relations between us, there is a state that is called, like I illustrated, chafetz chesed. So then illustration of qualities can be, yes, I'm chafetz chesed. I'm inclined towards mercy. This is my inclination. I'm inclined towards this inclination, but only in accordance to where they need me. And if they don't, so at this stage already, his backaches will be over? Of course. So in this group of 10, we can already take the illustration of this attitude from me to others that you illustrated here. We can take it as a kind of station in the workshop to creating this power of thought that will heal us. Yes. So what we need to try to put ourselves in this illustration that you gave, just to try, because of course I'm not in. You need to exercise it, practice it. So in our group, when we practice it, of course, you'll instruct us and guide us all the time. And the habit will become your second nature. This is how it will be. You'll begin to feel what it means to be chafetz chesed, to be inclined towards mercy, to feel things that you did not feel before, because you'll attain this special sensitivity through the usage of this thing, just like with every other specialty and every other profession. Before, you don't know anything about it, but when you start doing it, you start feeling and becoming more sensitive towards it and feeling it more. And then you'll feel what your attitude towards the world is, how the world approaches you, and what is chafetz chesed. You'll get a lot of impressions from it and discernments, and you will attain by that a second nature, the nature of chafetz chesed, of one who wishes for mercy. Through these exercises, the habit becomes a second nature. You will receive a second nature, a completely new degree of life, of existence. Only through this. I heard so much from people, also from doctors, that they think about positive thinking. So what is this positive thinking that you mean? It feels to me that what you're saying is not exactly what I received. I don't know what they're talking about, but positive thinking is when we, between us, in our groups and workshops that we build between us, we need to build these habits of good attitude towards one another. So positive thinking is when I need to think positively others, and not about myself, because this is what I used to know. That positive thinking, that's even more egoistic. I don't think that will help. Is that what they do? Is that what they say? That's what the way everybody understands that positive thinking is to think positively, is to think good about myself. I'm a good person. I need to value myself more and love myself more and to think good of myself and to trust myself. It's a protective system, even though it doesn't correct anything, but it protects you. It calms you. This is self-compensation. But I don't think that that this can help in the long run. So let's talk about what's special about what we learned from you. We wanted to learn today about the power of thought as a method of healing ourselves. And you said, okay, you want to start in developing this strength, this power. Then it needs to be like the good eye. And the good eye is in the relations that we have between me and others. And then you illustrated this picture where I need to supposedly define my position in front of you, let's say here in our group, because we're practicing here, right? It's like a laboratory now, where we're checking our relations between one another and learning new things. So in order to develop this power of thought to heal me in all the different levels in all of us, I need to begin to position myself in front of you as a chafetz chesed, as one who wishes for mercy, and I have no demands of my own. I only want to serve you. And in that, I will attain such a power, which will be what? It will a cure. What will it do exactly? It's the power of the correct connection. Yeah, but what will it give me? The correct connection to the system, because you're not alone. Your body's not alone. You're connected to all the bodies in the world, and you're dependent on the peace of all the bodies in the world, and their well-being. There are very interesting researches about this also, about how the general state of health influences the individual state of health. We're not aware of it. We don't want to talk about it because it compels us to do what we don't want to do. But if we look at it, we'll see that there is no choice. We'll see that there are all kinds of illnesses and problems in education of children, in the family, and everything. We're all dependent on each other. So in regards to that, you said before that we need to imagine such a picture in which all people are connected between them in this good attitude, in the good approach, in love, with smiles. You said, let's imagine such a state. You began it on two levels. You said, let's imagine that we're all interconnected. And you said, okay, now that we've organized this picture, now let's think about how once we've done it in our small group, now let's do it for the wider environment where all people live in harmony. And then you took it even another step forward, not just good interactions between them, but all of the human race and nature. Everything is in this good flow. And you said we should imagine such images between us here in our group, in the workshop. So my question here, how does this work? This force of imagination, of thought, of reality. It's all the same. Imagination, thought, and reality are all the same. What do you mean? It's not our world today. You imagine the world, and it's your world. Talk to Mrs. here, and you'll see how much her world is different from your world. This is when each and every one illustrates it and imagines it in a different way. You feel it a lot when you are talking to your wife. Each one sees a completely different situation. So what? So there's a situation on its in its on its own? No, the situation is also subjective in relation to the way the person sees it. If you talk to your wife, she sees and understands things that are completely different from the way you see it. How is this possible? It's opposite from the way you see it from beginning to end. Does this happen sometime? Yes, sometimes. But is the example clear? Yeah, completely. So are you going to say that these are different? The imagination, thoughts, and the world are the same. There is no world. It only exists according to the way you stabilize it, to the way you imagine it, the way you see it and perceive it. We attribute thought to the mind, and the imagination is it's like it's a different part of the brain. Because we're not able to monitor how much by through our imagination we influence our thoughts. We can't criticize or measure how much our imagination influences our thoughts, and by that it turns it forms it according to our imagination. So is there a difference between the force of imagination, the power of imagination, and the power of thoughts? So you say it's not the same one? Okay, I'm looking at you right now. What a pleasant woman. What a beautiful woman. So cultured and pleasant, right? And 5 minutes later, someone tells me something about her in the corner and what she's done to me, what she's done, something negative that she's done behind my back, and I come back to the studio and I sit in front of her, and how do I see her now? Is she beautiful? Is she good? Is she attractive? Is she cultural? No, it's something horrible, something I can't even imagine. It's something disgusting. So is there anything in her image that is objective? Can a person even be objective? So what does this mean about our imagination? That our imagination is the one that guides us. It guides us. There is no world. It is only what we imagine. Therefore, our world, our perception, is called what? The Olam Medume, the fake world, the imagined world, imaginary world, because we imagine it. We stabilize it according to our imagination. Well, wait a minute. Don't run ahead. I understood about Nietzsche. Now let's say there's pain in my right knee for a week. How is it connected to this? Our imagination guides us. There is no world except for what we imagine. Okay, there's our thoughts. There's there's Nisa thoughts. No, we're not talking about Nisa. We're talking about my knee. Wait. There's her thoughts about me, certain thoughts, and my thoughts about somebody else, and that's somebody's thoughts about other people, and until it reaches your knee. What's in those thoughts? Something. Something's wrong. Thoughts are unpleasant, bad thoughts that go from the level of thoughts to the level of forces to the level of the physiological systems until it reaches to specifically your knee. And from your knee to other people and so on. We're all connected in all of our cells, in all of our parts. We're all connected to everybody else in infinite connections. So now you've put another dimension, a very big dimension into here. First it was just the neighbor and Oren. Now it's... No, in every research, because we are limited and because we cannot grasp the integral system, because we're built in this narrow, egoistic way, then we need to try and clear the entire field and at least study one phenomena. Because if you try to grasp everything, you won't be able to. And this is why I talked about him with his neighbor, but actually, it's infinite numbers of connections. Okay, back to the knee. I understand that if the right knee hurts for a week, this is a result of a lot of bad thoughts that are in the general system that go from this level of thoughts till they reach the knee. Okay, so the world is full of bad thoughts, and finally they end up in somebody's knee or somebody's stomach. It doesn't matter. It's on psychosomatic levels and the physiological levels from the blood and lymph until they reach the bones. שורש נשמה גוף לבוש אחד, מוח העצמות גידים בשר ועור, the different levels of the soul. So it's like on the internet where there can be bugs on the internet which I'm connected to, then I can get a virus from this general web. Right? Is that the way it is? Well, I put an antivirus on a firewall on my computer. If you give me a mail, my computer checks, so I won't get it. So how can I put a firewall and antivirus on my knee? In your thoughts? Okay, so now we're going back to where we began from, imagination, thoughts, and reality. So I understood the example of my knee. For now, you said it's just a general image. I understood that. But now we're going back to the question. You said that our imagination guides us. There is no world except for what we imagine. So imagination, thoughts, reality. I'm a little confused about these three levels, but I just know that the knee hurts. That's it. So what I also know that I need an antivirus. So probably with my thoughts I can build it. How? You have 10 people here. Begin to practice with them building a good attitude towards the world. Give us a concrete exercise. Begin with yourselves to build like a good theater where all you do is treat each other well. What do you mean a good attitude? Start telling everyone how great they are, how special they are, how beautiful they are, how much you depend on them, how much you need them, how much you want to bestow to them and give them something good. Well, give us an example. Let's say we're in the workshop and you're the first one. So tell us what you're going to do. And I'll continue after you. Well, you need to build it. What am I going to tell you? Oren, you're so nice. You're so beautiful. You're such a special man. I discovered you. I didn't know before. You're such a good man. You're so rich on the inside. You're so wise. Every day I'm more and more impressed by you. You have such qualities. Your parents must have been so special, and who knows where you come from in the system. And I didn't think I'll ever meet such a man in my life. I'm so glad that there's such a man next to me, and so on and so on. Look at his face. Already his knee feels better. Of course, what knee? He's already forgotten it. Right. Now, I have to say it. Should I tell Nitsa? Let's say it to Nitsa. Nitsa, listen, I'm so impressed by you. Every day you give me such examples. What wit, what sensitivity of the heart. This works. This works. Yes, this is called that a habit becomes your second nature. There's the power of nature in here that is destined from such good exercises. This is called the good eye. It's artificial, but from that you can build an actual positive force which cleans us completely from all kinds of infections and thoughts and heart and the tissues and everything. This force, it cleanses and heals you. And this works because it's rooted in nature, except a person needs to organize enforce himself against his own nature, against his shame, his embarrassments, and feeling himself how great he is, and what if I did do this and will be embarrassing? Will it be real? How real does it need to be? Because our truth, and to be above this truth, it's so bad that to be above it is really so. By understanding how nature is organized, this special state for us, where we need to be above ourselves artificially. Like a child, I want to play and become alike to a more evolved, a better person, a higher person, and then I reach it just like a child that tries to grow, and then nature helps him. This is called that a habit becomes second nature. This is how I too try to be bigger, and I reach it. I don't want to stop myself and remain this evil beast just like I am now. It depends on the group and our work in the group and this mutual work, and then we will be able to expand it to the entire world. There's no problem. And then we will easily be able to feel one another internally. To make concessions towards one another won't be a problem. To reach general understanding and agreement that will, to such an extent that we'll be able to build the world in a simple, comfortable way for everyone. And then we will feel good. It will be comfortable for us. It will be fun. It all depends on, let's play at it. Let's begin to act it out. These are very high things. Also, the Zohar speaks of it, the wife who plays with her husband, the Malchut, our desire, meaning our desire with a higher force, to play, to act, to become alike. So you believe that with the power of thought and imagination, this is what was given to us. I think that with the power of thought and imagination, we can correct everything to make ourselves belong to this general system between us in such a way that we will all feel an eternal life. Because if I'm integrated in everyone, I feel what they feel, what they live, what they experience. It's like I exit my body, just like you forgot about your knee. You forget about your entire body. I suddenly feel that this imaginary world, I now in my imagination have built it differently. And I live in this imagination that is more correct, that is more real. Why is it more real? Because I'm integrated in everyone, integrally, just like nature is, and I'm not in my own egoistic niche, narrow niche. This power of thought, can it also operate on the level of countries? Can we, for example, decide that the entire Israeli public, for this matter, will do like an exercise in thoughts and illustrate some picture, and it will cause? Can we create an antivirus on the level of a country or state? Now you're beginning to see the truth. That we, especially Jews in the state of Israel, can build such an antivirus for the world that the entire world will begin to play differently, to imagine differently, to behave differently. We are able to do that. The program of the antivirus, we are the ones who possess it. This is why everyone hates us, because we can activate the antivirus and we don't. Wait a minute, slowly. I asked if we can create an antivirus to protect us, and you said more than that. We can invent an antivirus that is global for the entire world. We don't need to invent it. We need to use nature. We don't need to invent anything. We just need to make an effort. Okay, so let's practice it. For now, you've given us a few exercises inside the group. So let's exercise. If you can walk us through an exercise We need to enter this connection between us, the people of Israel, in the land of Israel, in such a way that we will project onto the other good relations. All of Israel are friends. According to love thy friend as yourself. Don't do to your friend what you yourself hate. The chafetz chesed that we spoke of before, him who wishes for mercy, for this good attitude. And if we do these, perform these changes, because we are connected to the entire world, and look, we are just 0.01% of the world, but look at how influential we are. Look at where we are in the headlines and the discussions all over the world. Only according to that you can see how much we can be a power that influences, that completely brings the world to the good. If we do this together, all of us, if we connect, what a power, what a good eye we will put inside the entire world. But we are the most disconnected, separated people in the world. There's so many foundations of separation in this nation. You can choose. I can bring you 100 different bases for separation between all of our different sectors in our society. So how will it be possible? The moment that you begin to do these workshops in the plazas, in all kinds of places, everyone is with us today in a workshop. You're in prime time now. So give them just one exercise. Let's speak well, positively about each other. Let's speak peace to each other, even though it's not in your heart at all. This is what's called that we will reach the truth through the act, through the play, the game. This is called that the habit becomes a second nature. You take a bad nature, and through habit, you turn it into a good nature. This is called giving the good eye instead of the evil eye. But the evil eye is the truth, and the good eye is a pretend. Yes, but I use this pretend and create the truth out of it, and then the previous truth disappears. Where does it disappear to? I replace it. Okay, say I bring you representative of the different sectors in society. Doesn't matter which part. In 10 minutes, I can bring you 10 people who are infinitely separated between them because of so many reasons. So, according to what we learned in today's meeting, the relations between them are called the evil eye, and they project evil onto each other, right? Okay, so I sat them together. We're in a healing workshop. We're learning how to heal ourselves. What is happening now? We begin to speak well about each other. I take off my glasses so I don't see your face, which I hate, and I begin to talk from afar, just like I talked before. No, but with him, it's not pretend. You're truly in a conflict with him. Well, I truly hate you, but now I'm beginning to speak differently. It's like I discovered, I didn't know before, but you're related to me. I just discovered that you are just like my son, something like that. I didn't know. I regret so much the evil that I caused to you. I want to cause you good from now onwards. I didn't even know that 40 or 50 years ago it happened in this way. And I'm only discovering now how close we are to one another, how much I depend on you. Now all I want is to help you feel good. Why not? Because I now discover the system of relations between us, and I see how close and interconnected we are. I now see that it's not a coincidence that we met in our life, that some higher force sat us together or next to each other. How could we not come closer together? And now I'm even able to bear putting on my glasses and seeing you, and so on and so forth. So I'm telling you, there's no more than a theater here, than a game. But if we act it out in the right way, according to the rules of nature, consciously, nature naturally hating the other, not that he chose it, but now he chooses to rise above the hatred to love. And this is called, instead of the mountain of Sinai, building the mountain of holiness. Instead of the mountain of hatred, the mountain of holiness. It's in our hands. And this is what we must do right now. Otherwise, we'll eat each other up, and nature will eat us up in this general crisis. And now we have no choice. All we need to do is workshops until the entire world will speak in this way to each other and pretend. But this pretend will quickly change our reality and become the truth. And then we'll feel that the entire nature is actually love. The separation between us, is it on the level of thoughts? Or is there all other things here, also emotion and thoughts? It all comes together. Either it's good or bad, doesn't matter. So if I'm separated, it means that our thoughts are separating us. Not just thoughts, desires, intentions, feelings, everything. What does it matter? If you're opposed to each other, whatever he says yes about, you'll say no without even thinking. I'm trying to think, how can I, through my power of thought, to connect to someone? How does my thought help me connect to somebody? Connection, isn't it in thought? That's what I'm trying to understand. Our connection is in our thoughts. Everything depends on our thoughts. Everything will be sorted out through our thoughts. And with that, no. We have 2 more minutes for this meeting in which we wanted to understand how to cure all illnesses. Right, with the power of thoughts. Yes. And you gave us all kinds of practices here, exercises here, and I'd like for us to have some homework as well. I recommend you to build a healing workshop. And this will be in addition to our conversation, for people to come and to truly participate in such a workshop. Okay, so I didn't understand the homework. It's not homework. I'm saying you need to build a workshop here out of these 10 people, and they need to show everyone an example how we can reach from the state of negative thinking or apathy to positive thinking, connection, that I feel completely that I'm with everyone in mind and heart, even though for now it's pretend. But this habit, once time after time, will become our second nature. And what for a summary? My summary is that we need to do this workshop. That's it. There's nothing more than that. This is the beginning of the end. Do such workshops and you'll see how much all of the evil eye just disappears. And instead of it, you get the good eye, and everything works out and reaches calm and peace. Thank you very much, Rav Lightman. Thank you, Nitsa. Thank you, our viewers, for being with us. Until next time, we will practice doing this good eye, giving a good eye. Until then, all the best.